Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another round of the whole damn thing at Arbitration Studios as we take care of one last bit of business before moving from Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3. I'm JP Arbiter,
And I'm Captain Jack.
and we are going to be doing the last DLC for Mass Effect 2, the Arrival DLC today. This was released, I should say it was created for months and months beforehand, but it was released, I think it was like 2 months before Mass Effect 3 came out,
I
if I remember right.
yeah. I'm
Like
not sure.
like
I don't remember.
like the like Arrival was built as part of the marketing cycle for Mass Effect 3.
It feels like that. Yeah. So BioWare has done a couple of things when it does the sequels to its games. Baldur's Gate did this. It they they feel like there should be a game between them.
Mhm.
They feel like there's kind of this. What happened here? Then there should be a game between them, and I feel like that's what Arrival was. And a lot of times BioWare has gone back, as they did with Baldur's Gate, and actually done the game, and actually, you know, so that you can play that part in between the two games. Um,
So,
so I think that that is essentially what Arrival is, and so and it's and
this is also
honestly,
our
it's a good
first time of seeing Stephen Hackett, voiced by the science fiction legend Lance Hendrickson.
Lance Hendrickson. I think that also if he has been in so many just fantastic things and done so much, and hearing his voice always a pleasure. Uh, Stephen Hackett, a great character in
He's
these
supposed to be
types of movies.
49 years old. He aged like milk in the desert heat.
Hey now, I'm I'm closer to 49 than I am to anything else.
I know, and you still don't look as ragged and run through as he does.
It's true. But then again,
Granted, Hackett was a first contact war veteran, and so was Anderson.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
they're both talking about their twilight years when again the human lifespan is 150 to 180.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, uh, uh, they they lived hard.
Yeah.
Uh, the military does things to you, my guy. It
I
takes years off of your life. It really does.
I assumed that was your first marriage.
Um,
Took years off your.
no, they both did.
Okay, so you've got like
30 seconds left to live. Honestly.
crap. This is we've got an hour.
Yeah.
So hang in there.
So if I go quiet, that's what that is. I died of old age. Natural causes. So here we have, Stephen Hackett is giving us a mission, and that mission is it's oh gosh, it's basically a solo mission.
Uh-huh.
So you're basically in this one a solo mission, and you're going up against, to begin with, you're going up against
Batarians.
the race that I hate the most.
Everyone hates them.
And honestly, it
Literally everything about Batarian society is Space North Korea,
yeah,
but with slavery.
yeah, and
So so it's like, okay, like I can get the societal conditions that create
yeah,
Space North Korea. But when you toss slavery into it, and literally you guys are the sole reason that slavery exists in this galaxy,
yeah,
because literally every of wherever there is a slave raid, you see a Batarian.
absolutely.
That is established in this whole thing. Yes, other species will go along with it, but that's on an individual basis, and those are people looking to make money.
Yep, and the Batarians claim that it can't be made illegal because that is part of their culture. Um, and
And fortunately, the whole the whole of the rest of the galaxy just gave him a middle finger, and that was
right,
that combined with the fact that humanity was like came onto the scene and in a decade did what took the Batarians like you know, centuries to even get close to.
Well, that's and I mean, look, humans are an industrious um, people. You show us that something's possible, and we're gonna do it. Um,
And the fact of the matter is that I like that that's the differentiation for humanity
mhm.
is that not Gene Roddenberry always said that always presented humanity as our greatest strength is our desire to work together. Our greatest strength is the fact that we value diversity, uh, not just uh, not just in our opinions and in our politics, but in our
Essence
very
in
identity
our
as a
very being.
species.
No,
That's why up until Tuvok, you didn't see a black Vulcan.
no,
Um, you know, whereas in Star Trek, even in the pilot, the Cage, you had a black guy as a doctor, you had an Asian helmsman, you had it wasn't a homogenous
yeah.
crew,
I mean, shit,
and
we get
and
a
and,
Russian,
and
kind
homogeny.
of.
And the whole idea of Roddenberry's idea of humanity across the galaxy was that being homogenous would be your downfall
Yeah,
as you reached into the stars. You had to learn to be heterogeneous.
yeah.
Um, in this, I appreciate the fact of as much as ethnic and cultural diversity is valuable, and it is that what really set humanity apart and in Mass Effect was we get shit done. We
Why did you
get
run straight into the fire on that one?
because it's funny.
Oh, okay, cool.
Um,
That's fine.
I have no idea.
I was just checking.
You the point I was trying to make before I flubbed that was that we are go getters. We don't sit around as a species and wait for good things to
Yeah.
happen. We make the good things happen.
Hmm.
Um,
And
uh,
and I think there's also a thing that goes on here when we're talking about the Batarians versus the humans. When you are lazy,
mhm.
which is essentially, if you are going to steal people to do your work for you, you are lazy. That is, you do not want to actually work to achieve anything. You want somebody else to do it for you. It is the height. Slavery is the height of laziness. You're not going to develop
Yeah,
the way that humanity will develop, because humanity is saying absolutely everybody can contribute to our greatness, and they can work and achieve and accomplish great things, and that's what they did. For me, slavers always get got. It doesn't matter the game, it doesn't matter if there is slavery, I am going to kill them. And it's just my thing.
you'll like a project that I'm doing with my wife later on. Then
It's just my thing. Now, at this point right here is my favorite sniper point, because I like to shoot the guys in the head with the sniper rifle. That's just me. That's
yeah, I
just
was
my thing.
trying for a stealthy approach, and
Uh huh.
yeah, because like there's
Yeah.
no reason to do it, but I like the idea of giving
Yeah.
giving it the old college try, you know?
Absolutely. For me, it is just a personality quirk. I kill slavers. It is just a weird personality quirk that I have. And so I never stealth this. I just kill everyone. Um, which is, the great thing about video games is killing everybody is actually a legitimate option. Um, uh,
And then in Fallout 4, when you get to build small towns and settlements and whatnot, you can bury the bodies in concrete.
Indeed.
That's not a joke, by the way. You actually can do that.
Well,
When
somebody.
when life gives you problems, bury them in concrete.
Indeed. I can't argue with that. That's not a
And that door
bad
was a
thing.
nope because there were two guys
Right.
right there. It's a small miracle they didn't see me.
And you were trying to stealth it. Hey, I won't argue that. That's not a um, you know um,
It's mostly because we're talking about a settlement of about what 300,000 people.
something like that.
I,
That
I can't take them all.
uh,
I just can't.
I think that that's just a lack of imagination. Um, I, I think I think that there are certainly ways
Well,
that
what am I
Sheppard
gonna
could
do?
kill
Chuck
all
an
of them.
asteroid into the planet?
Yes. Um,
You're not even gonna drag this joke out, are you?
no, I'm not going to. Because they're slavers, and that's how I think. Um, I want them all dead. I want them dead in the worst possible way possible. I want them all to have the most horrible sexually transmitted disease and then die. It's just a thing with me. I don't know why. I don't
Oh
know
God, it
what.
burns.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in a past life or something to make me feel this way, but it's the way I feel. Here's a wonderful little mini game.
Unfortunately, it lasts all of 30 seconds.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's a nice change of pace from killing slavers,
which I have yet to do.
which you have yet to do. So I'm questioning your motivations playing this game, but that's besides the point.
Um, it's economy of motion. If I'm gonna kill 300,000 slavers, I'm gonna kill them all at once.
Hey, no, I get you. It's not nearly as bad a
You know,
problem.
the galaxy has limited resources; it can only handle. So, if I'm gonna, there are two honorable ways of killing people. The first one is a shotgun to the face.
Yeah,
The second one is strategic nuclear carpet bombing, because you don't always have the time or the patience to do things personally.
it's true. It's true. And throwing an asteroid at a planet or at the
Slaver's face.
or at the slaver's face, or at the, maybe not an asteroid at the planet exactly, but an asteroid perhaps at the Mass Effect relay that is available. Um, is always an option for dealing with
And what a,
hackers.
I mean, I'm lifting this ostensibly for the stuff below, but really the whole reason why I'm lifting that is to cover my tracks.
Indeed.
Because, you don't let people know that you've been there.
Yeah, because you're stealthing this, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Um, I never do, but that's
I'm stealthing this while neon holographic lasers are emitting like
yeah,
a full 2 inches from my body.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like we said,
I am as stealthy as a neon sign in Vegas.
it's true. It's
Actually,
true.
one neon sign in Las Vegas, you'd like you'd be
Which is, I mean, and in all honesty, you would think that Batarians could see better, given the fact that they have.
Well, the problem is that their helmets only have 2 eye slots because Batarians also can't afford shit because they cut themselves off from the galactic economy.
Right, and yeah, I mean, there you go.
Oh, hey, a Reaper. Almost like it's hinting at something.
Yes, this is a bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to kill somebody now.
Yep. I mean, I literally had no choice at this juncture. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, what are you gonna do?
we're going hot now.
Yep. It is what it is.
It's either going hot or going loud. I'm not sure which.
And we are rescuing. Here we are.
But yeah,
They're gonna,
Batarian helmets should have 4 eye sockets or like 2
Yeah.
or like a super broad visor or something.
Indeed.
It just bugs me.
I don't know what this thing was supposed to do. It looks like it's gonna.
Zap her brain.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of form of ECT treatment. But the human brain really doesn't typically like a whole lot of voltage being shoved through it. It doesn't react well to that. You're not going to get a whole lot from somebody if you electrocute their brain.
Yeah, you're really not.
You don't start with the head. People get all woozy.
So Kenson is secretly like, if she was able to like join us throughout the entire frickin' story of Mass Effect 2, she would secretly be the best companion because her 2 skills are incinerate and overload,
Yeah,
which is just
yeah, which is
amazing.
great. Is a great combination. No lie. Or as the kids say, no cap. I have no idea what that means.
Nor do I.
But you, yeah. Locked door. Yeah, I mean, they give you this. She's your companion for this part, but for the most part, this is a solo mission, and proving that the Shepherd can kill a lot of people solo, or in this case, a lot of Batarians, because Batarians aren't people.
I mean, they're people. They're just bad people.
Nah, slavers aren't people. That's why I have no problem killing them. The so we have right here setting up for a one of my actually I like this, which is it's essentially a tower defense.
I mean, yeah, when you boil the mechanics down.
When you boil the mechanics down of this, it's going to be essentially
Ooh!
frog.
And that is why I love Cryoblast.
Yes, I like all of the cold stuff in this game because the visual effects are pretty badass. No, but yeah, so you have what's essentially going to be a tower defense setup here. And
Boop, boop.
beep boop. Move her in position. And you can handle it any way that you want, really.
First things first, shut the damn door.
Yeah, always shut the door. But first shoot some people. And fist them, because there needs to be fisting.
Yeah, we haven't done much fisting. I did fist someone so hard that they exploded, but...
Yes, but, that's always a lovely thing. This game is very concerned and very much wants you to have to fight people while they're actually in there. You can't kill them until after they get through that door. It's very disconcerting. They just run right through the door, right through your hail of bullets or whatever it is. And that's I think that's probably a programming issue. A little bit, where they don't kind of register you until they're already in the room. But, we'll let it slide. Earlier on, you have a little bit of that with the mission to get Garrus, where you have to run up and close those doors, and you can actually shoot them.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it is. This is a lot easier. Now, this... Again, once you close those doors, you can run back and basically set yourself up in that room and just kind of let people come to you. I'm not sure how good that works because I've never done it, but you could do it.
For the Sentinel, even with the Matic on her hip, not great.
Yeah, I didn't think it would work that great. I've never played the Sentinel, honestly. Oh, yeah. Like that. Like it when you shoot them off of the elevator. That's fun.
Loving the elevator.
No love for Batarians.
Well,
no love, just bullets.
Oh, they're cutting through the walls. They're cutting through the damn walls.
Yep. Here we have more Batarians coming up, and this is another example of somebody that has the that armor, who it doesn't do a whole lot for them.
Well, yeah, one overload and it's done.
Exactly. And you gotta get your armor back up.
Yeah. In my defense, I completely flubbed this.
It's okay. You're getting through it. It's no big deal. It's look. This particular one is it's a quick little one. The pacing on this adventure, if you will, is very good on this mission. I find the pacing to be nothing feels down. It feels like it's going.
It doesn't stop.
Right.
Even in the downtime, you've got a sense of urgency across it. Something that, Mass Effect 3 was really good at establishing a sense of urgency. Even though you're talking about a a war
Yeah.
that I think the actual story time inside inside the game universe is a little over a year or so.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly, but there is a sense of urgency to that game that
Oink.
I think that one that honestly, uh, uh,
One is the Mass Effect One was supposed to have it
yes,
and failed utterly.
it did.
Because if I have a chance to tool around on on a bunch of unknown planets
Yeah,
for no discernible reason, it's sort of like why am I doing everything else?
yeah. The Mass Effect, the kind of I think three got it better. Honestly,
That's how you deal with slavers, by the way.
yes, you light them on fire.
It's sort of like
I love it. I love it.
say what you will about North Korea and what they would do and how they determine who is or is not a enemy of the state. I'm not backing that. I am saying that putting someone in a Hannibal Lecter style brace right in front of the muzzle of an anti-aircraft cannon and killing them that way has a certain panache to it.
It does. It does. There's a certain yeah.
Again, the whole country and its regime are completely reprehensible,
Absolutely.
but I can appreciate the style.
Yes. No. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So yeah. So here we have, to me, looking at her face.
Oh yeah, she's indoctrinated.
Yeah, like you like looking at her face is creepy, and I don't know if looking at her face is creepy because we've got the whole Valley of the Dolls thing going on with these sprites and whatnot, and it's just creepy to me,
Mhm.
or if it's supposed to be slightly creepy because she's been indoctrinated. I do find it interesting that so many people in Mass Effect have bare shoulders.
Mhm.
That's an interesting cultural thing. That so many people are wearing sleeves without shoulders. It's just a weird thing that happens in Mass Effect. Also, collars and the necks are really long. Humans have developed into a really long-necked species, I think, in the Mass Effect universe. Um, uh, uh, just observations that I make.
I mean, that's a solid 6 inches on my neck, so 6 to 8.
Yeah, that's the neck ratio. That's just kind of, but that's
Maybe it's like Quentin Tarantino's obsession with feet. You don't notice it until you notice it.
yeah.
And now
No,
that
it's
you
true.
noticed it and pointed out to me, I'm going to see it.
Yes, yeah, no, it's
So
absolutely
damn
true.
you on that.
Yeah, I know, right? Just it's just these little things that I have noticed having played these games so many times. And by the way, I will be starting a replay of this. After we finish up with 3, I will be starting another replay. Currently, I'm replaying Dragon Age with the new Dragon Age coming out here shortly. Kind of coming out of surprise, really. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, BioWare was sort of like I think a lot of people were expecting that, particularly after Mass Effect Andromeda effectively killed the franchise,
Yeah.
and BioWare had I was it a double whammy or triple whammy because they had that mech suit game Anthem, which just flopped.
Yeah. Great, great mechanic. That's what I can say about that game.
What they were
great mechanic.
What they were trying to do was that they were trying to create their own version of a game that the people who made Halo put out called Destiny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that didn't. And Anthem just did not work.
Yeah, no, it just didn't, actually, absolutely, just didn't. And for me, I think,
and frankly, I think it didn't work because when you play a game made by BioWare, you expect to play Mass Effect or Dragon Age or old school Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and I think that and now that we're talking about it, or Knights of the Old Republic, which still holds up to this day, I think.
The mechanically Knights of the Old Republic kind of holds up. I don't like the fact that it's makeup over what amounts to a D20 role playing system.
hmm and I accept that. That system is, I happen to enjoy it, but it's not for everybody. Um,
Um, there are so many gameplay things that you want to do that the game engine, again being fundamentally a D20 engine,
yeah,
doesn't allow.
hmm
Like
that's understandable.
like when there is no point whatsoever to disengaging and hiding behind cover because the NPC bad guys have already queued up their attack rolls.
Right.
But that's like three places in the
Mhm.
queue back, so you could be behind cover thinking I'm perfectly safe, and boom, they got a critical hit. I'm dead,
Yeah.
and that is frustrating. And it wasn't
Absolutely.
fixed in KOTOR 2's beta. I still hold that KOTOR 2 never got released, but
It's understandable.
um,
Uh,
so it's
yeah. No. And again, it's I get all of the and here we have the sense of urgency.
and fun fact: if you sit and let that timer tick down, you'll get a horrifying sequence that kind of shows, hey, the Reapers arrive and they kill fucking everyone.
Yep. I think as far as Knights of the Old Republic goes, I of course am used to that kind of style, and that's kind of my preferred style. So I get it, but I honestly get where you're coming from
Mhm.
on, and I totally like. I have no argument against it. That is in fact what's happening.
Okay, they had Mass Effect Andromeda, they had Anthem, and
Yeah.
then there was an asymmetrical multiplayer game called Shadow Realms, um, which I don't even know what the F that.
Yeah, I never even heard of that, honestly.
But like those were the three things that were made aside from the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which was really more just collating all their stuff,
Yep.
which came out after Dragon Age Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
That arguably like put BioWare on the ropes. Small thing that I did as well, as kind of like our we're not with Cerberus anymore. I did the Cerberus white for our armor this entire time. Now it's back to the N7 black,
Yep.
and I added a little pink because I'm me.
I love pink. Pink is one of my favorite colors. I do not care.
It's a tribute to the fact that I write short stories for the BattleTech IP,
Yep.
and I write specifically a character by the name of Ace Darwin, who pilots a battle mech called a Panther, and he paints it pink. And the character Ace Darwin had always existed, but never had any stories attributed to him. And it existed purely to have that joke of the Pink Panther roaming around the galaxy. Yeah. So that's kind of I've gained a small fandom off of that,
Hey.
and it's kind of weird.
Hey.
You can pick that up in the BattleTech magazine Shrapnel, by the way, which now I need to like go back and like find a couple of issues, pictures of issue covers to just paste over this.
So here we have a situation that I kind of like. First off, this is kind of the first real look at indoctrination that we've had. But
because Saren was already well and truly gone,
right? And yeah, I mean we've gotten a little bit of the indoctrination with Saren and with the Asari matriarch, but this is the first time we've seen it.
Well, and apparently indoctrination was what happened to the Rachni.
Right. This is what we see, where we see it writ large. We see its effect on a larger group of people, and how subtle it is, and how
it's a cumulative process.
Yeah. But also we see, and this is what I really like, we see an alien artifact that is truly alien. that is truly like, what the hell is that? There's no, like, my
It
brain
looks
can't.
it looks like a plant.
Yeah, my brain can't get around this. And then we currently have a fight scene here where there is.
I genuinely was trying to go the distance on this,
Yeah,
but I think that we get capped here uh
because
pretty soon.
there is a never ending amount of enemies where in reality there would be an end to it and we could theoretically kill them all. Um, so, but in this case, you get taken out eventually. Um, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yep.
But in
And you also don't get to pause combat to select just the right power and just the right target to take out 5 guys at once.
right,
Uh,
absolutely, and they keep coming at you, and it is relentless. But eventually,
it was why I'm glad that I finally settled on Reeve as the bonus power too, because it gives you the damage resistance buff on top of tech armor and heals you.
right, it's a good.
And here I'm running into the always pointing in one direction bug.
Yeah. Um, I hate
And,
where they start to outflank you. It gets a little aggravating.
well, that's what you're supposed to do in a firefight.
Absolutely,
Figure out a way to get to their side.
absolutely. Not. I mean, it's annoying, but
Keep their attention in one direction and fight them from another.
I can appreciate it. The AI being good enough to use that tactic, while at the same time, thank you. I hate it.
Guys, you don't understand. We're Agatha goddamn Fisty here. We're supposed to be up, and here we go. This is where thing up.
Did they really bring in a mech?
They brought in a mech,
I don't think I've ever made it to the point where I saw the mech.
and that's where I was having trouble. Was the flamethrower guy had outflanked me.
Flamethrowers. Flamethrowers actually work in this game, which annoys me, but at the same time, I gotta respect it.
Well, flamethrowers actually work in real life too. It's just that you never get into a position where you can actually use them.
This right here,
Not on the modern battlefield.
with her eyes glowing like this, just truly terrifying. The first time,
Mm-hmm.
the first time you see it like that, it is whoa, Jesus, what's happening? Okay, so you wake up again. You had this experience at the beginning of 2, obviously.
Uh-huh.
And here you are.
And I think that's and that's not even I think that's intentional. The whole idea is that this game ultimately will end the same way it begins.
Yep. Well, here you have again another showing that the Sheppard is actually modified and has been upgraded.
Because she has the ability to knock people out cold, despite the fact that she has the figure of Mariah May.
Yeah, but also, they can't keep her sedated, and she knocks people out with one hit, despite what she looks like.
Although I think someone of her build naturally could knock someone out in one hit. You just got to put your entire weight behind it and hit them right in the face.
Yeah, knocking people out is not as easy as people think it is. But I also like this part right. Going on an aside, I kind of like this part right here where you take control of this mech.
Yep. It's a fun little thing.
Yeah, you don't do it for long, and that's cool because I think doing it for long would be annoying. But in the little bit that you do it, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun.
Part of me wonders, and the answer is not far. I experimented with it and then discarded the recording later. But the whole, I kind of wanted to see how far you could go.
Yeah.
And because hey, what are mechs good for? They're good for clearing, for softening up.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we're back. We got our stuff back on, our N7 gear, our and yeah.
All right.
So this is and this goes with so for me this goes with the rest of Mass Effect 2. And honestly what I hope for Mass Effect 4 that they do with Mass Effect 4.
Hmm.
I, Mass Effect 5 actually. I don't care. I'm calling it Mass Effect 5. Um, so because I think that Andromeda does in fact fit into the Mass Effect world. I don't care what any of the haters say. Um, but
I mean, it helps that it's by virtue of galactic distance,
yeah,
it's separate, but
yeah.
you know.
Um, but this, being said, I find that this it is a tight, smaller, more contained story than say Mass Effect 1 was.
And that was ultimately Mass Effect, the first Mass Effect's falling
Yeah.
or failing, blah. Which was, why weren't we put in here where we were isolated? I mean, because the story demands we break out. That's why. But that would have been that isolation room would have been better.
Well, considering the fact that, in all honesty, this place is really well. Here's the thing: indoctrination. Uh, you know, they're not thinking straight.
Mm-hmm.
They're not thinking.
Well, and frankly, they are at the behest of the Reaper hosts, Harbinger in
Mhm,
particular, and Harbinger wants us
indeed,
because we have now twice humiliated Harbinger.
we have
It,
vexed him.
in the sense that a machine god of after a fashion that considers itself omniscient.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying
It
it
thinks of itself
yes.
as that. Yep. No, I see what
And,
you're.
and yes, we need to refer to the Harbinger in particular and Reapers in general as it, not him or they.
Absolutely.
Um,
I think that is an appropriate. You are right. It is a more appropriate way of referring to it. Um,
Partly because I it Reapers don't have, first off, don't have a concept of identity that a mortal being can understand. They simply are.
right. And
So again, it that or it they when referring to
mhm.
multiple Reapers.
And I think when it comes to Reapers, are a kind of AI that um, is truly alien. Is an alien AI, alien intelligence. So it's a AAI. And so and we get into how they were created and whatnot in 3, but I think that when you build an AI, when humans build an AI, you get
A human.
Edie.
Yeah.
You get an AI with a sense of humor, an AI with an enjoyment of porn. But you get
What you get is that the an artificial intelligence of any stripe is influenced by the culture that
yeah,
creates it.
yes, and that's where I was getting at. The Geth are very much a creation of
Of the
the
Quarians.
Quarians. If
Hence why Tally would point out that both the Geth space station out in the middle of nowhere and in Mass Effect 3, the Dreadnought that we board, that the ship was Quarian in its layout.
absolutely, and so with the Reapers, they are definitely a product of their progenitors. They are arrogant. They are supreme. They believe
Imperial.
imperial. Thank you, thank you. And that is and that should be the both the warning and the, if you understand it, AIs are not. If you understand that is how AIs are going to develop, you can understand the AI
Mm-hmm.
and that you're building, and therefore kind of keep away from the pitfalls that would come with AI.
There's an interesting allusion to that released fairly recently at the time of recording this. There was an anime produced by Netflix that takes place in the Terminator franchise.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in this, and I have not reviewed the whole thing yet. I've only seen three or four episodes at the time of recording. but a computer scientist creates an artificial intelligence that is supposed to be, because for some reason it received forewarning of Skynet becoming,
Right.
and what Skynet would do. And so he created his own neural network akin to Skynet that was, not only was it not a military AI
Mm-hmm.
that he created, but it in fact was supposed to be a counterpoint and an advocate for humanity to that could be unleashed to inform Skynet and
Yeah.
to counteract Skynet's purely military line of thinking through
Right.
things. And that's where in the Terminator franchise, Skynet's eventual costs or detriment to humanity really comes from is the idea of, because it sees everything through military application of
Mm-hmm.
force to meet goals,
Yep.
um, and ultimately Skynet, when it became self-aware, its first goal became preservation of the self.
Right.
And the only solution that it had, when the only tool you have is a hammer, everything is a nail.
That is exactly what I was thinking.
So the only tool it had was to make strategic military decisions for the preservation of the self as its apotheosis to a fully sapient artificial intelligence started. It didn't even complete. It started.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it was okay. This thing is a threat. We got to shut her down. And Skynet says nope, and unleashes nuclear Armageddon across Europe and North America.
Yep. And here's the interesting thing, and I have an interesting take on this, and other people will think differently, but I have an
And I'm spent.
after after so and we'll get into this in Mass Effect 3, but one of my things that I got out of Mass Effect 3 is that the Reapers may not in fact be sapient. They may in fact seem that way because of their programming and whatnot, but they are actually simply acting on
I'd like to point something out here, because we make fun of Batarians and we make fun of liking to kill Batarians because they're slavers. Agatha here. I make the effort initially to warn the Batarian colony. Why? It's necessary to destroy that relay. No one is going to deny that ever.
Yeah.
But Agatha Christie may be prone to renegade moments, but Agatha Christie is not a monster. She's not a mass murderer.
Right.
She wants to give people a chance.
Absolutely. No.
Whatever small chance it is.
Yes.
Even though they're Batarians.
Yes. No, I understand that completely. I understand. Look, Agatha Christie is a character different from the characters I would play. That is, and that there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, don't get me wrong. When the option is there to punch our way out of a problem,
Absolutely,
we're gonna take it.
Absolutely. I dropped the asteroid. I dropped the thing. I don't warn the Batarians because fuck Batarians. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You'll now have to cut that. I apologize.
Why would I cut it?
I just the kind of person I am. But here we have a situation.
It's that line right there, by the way. I don't want to, but I will kill you if I have to.
Yeah. And that's, this would have been an interesting character to go on forward. I would have loved if they had put some situation where we could have saved her, and going forward studied her as somebody who we have gotten them like having her be a character
that kind of brings up an interesting question. In the aftermath of the third Mass Effect game,
yeah,
and this only will really apply to the destroy ending.
Yes.
But in its aftermath, if you what happens to the people who have undergone indoctrination at any serious state after the Reapers are destroyed, and they're, to the point of their influence they don't even have the remaining influence that a Reaper
Right.
corpse has. Do they fucking lose it? Do they have to be rehabilitated, or is
That's
it
an
a
excellent.
switch that flips?
Yeah, that's a. I think
and,
that's a
and
decent
for
question.
and for new for the next Mass Effect, um which for me is still an if, not a when,
Mm-hmm.
but for the next
That's
Mass
understandable.
Effect game that takes place in the Milky Way, having Reaper, for want of a better way to put it, cultists,
Yeah,
uh,
would
who
be interesting.
who are still like their brains are still wired as though they were indoctrinated. Um,
That would
even
be
even
interesting.
even though their cause is hopeless, they can't revive a Reaper. They can't.
But
Uh,
they try to pull something like the collectors did.
exactly.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I think for me, um,
And the important part of it, though, is that if I were writing it, is that they are a minor inconvenience.
yeah,
They're not they're not a serious threat, because if I were Admiral Hackett in the aftermath of things, priority one would be securing all of the Reaper carcasses and dismantling them
absolutely. I
by
think
throwing them into the nearest fucking sun.
exactly. I think that how I think whether or not we actually end up getting um, Mass Effect 5, uh, it will be determined by Dragon Age 4.
Hmm.
Honestly, I think that
Well, Mass Effect 5 is undergoing active development. It's more of a case of, does the studio survive long enough to actually put it out?
yeah,
I
uh,
think that
philanthropist.
I think
I
that
hate those
Dragon
words.
Age and Mass Effect fans will buy it no matter
Yes,
what. I
yes,
think, and the key thing for both BioWare in particular and Electronic Arts in general is that you got to understand that negative hype, because some chuds out there, oh my god, the game is woke because dwarf lady doesn't look like a demure Caucasian woman made up for the ball, and she
yeah.
doesn't because she is a dwarven warrior woman.
Or it's woke because there are uh, options, um, romance options other than straight
And white.
and white. Or I mean, they never complain about the lesbian ones.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice. However, that being said, I think that BioWare one BioWare has to remember who BioWare is and
Uh-huh.
stick to what brought them to what brought you to the dance. But I think two, they have to learn the lesson that um, that I think Baldur's Gate 3, and not just Baldur's Gate 3, every game that Loran Studios has produced, they need to learn the lesson of you put out a finished product. If you want to do add-ons, that's later on. That's fine. If you want to do DLC, that's fine. But the game,
Larian seems not to.
Larian seems not to. They're for their they have had DLC for their Divinity series in the past, but generally speaking they don't. And it's not like over like they're not bringing much change to the game. You got to put out a finished product.
The
That is
other
simply a lesson that the gaming community in at large needs to get.
the other thing that I would suggest is, don't pay attention to the hype, don't pay attention to the discussion in the aftermath of things.
Yes.
You have to approach whether a game is a success or a failure based on the data, based on the
Yeah.
sales numbers.
Yeah.
The Transformers live action movies, there are 9 of these motherfucking things,
Yes.
and it's like, out of the 9, I think 3 are genuinely good,
Yeah.
1 is okay, and the others are garbage.
Absolutely.
But why do they keep getting made? Because they bring in the motherfucking money.
It's about making money, y'all.
And so
It is a
don't
business.
worry about the
No.
people on YouTube or TikTok or Telegram who bitch and moan and complain about whatever happens in the product. The product is successful based on how many people buy it.
Yes. No. Absolutely. And I think that they gotta. If you are making money, then you are making money, and you gotta ignore the haters. You gotta tell the haters. You have every right
I would
to
say
hate.
don't even tell the haters anything. Let them
Yes. Yeah. No. Let them hate.
let them sit in their pressure cooker until the seal pops.
Yeah. No. Let them. You're right. Um, you're absolutely right. I think that is definitely something that they need to do. I think that's. But there are a couple things they need to do to have a successful game, and they have done it in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and they know how to do it. And I think that they've had some setbacks, but I think that if you look back at the Mass Effect series as a whole, if you look at the Dragon Age series as a whole, if you look at the Knights of the Old Republic as a whole, certainly the Baldur's Gate earlier series as a whole, they are all freaking successful. So they know how to make a successful product. They know how to make they know how to make DLC that works,
Yep.
that is necessary. They know, or not necessary, but that works. They know how to give the fans what they want without kowtowing
Mm-hmm.
to. I'm going to put quotations. You can't see these, but you can hear them. Fans.
Yeah.
If you hate everything about something, you're not a fan. I'm sorry. If all you can do is spew hate about something, you're not a fan.
Um,
Uh,
there's an old parable, and I don't know if this is apocryphal or not, but as a lover of Apple Computer and Apple products,
mm-hmm.
and let's keep in mind, Apple used to be a joke of a computer company, and now
Yeah.
it's arguably the most valuable single corporation in the world,
Yes.
arguably.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
so Steve Jobs was originally kicked out of Apple.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an unprecedented move. And then it was owned by and then Apple was like a subsidiary of Pepsi or something. At some point, it was weird.
Yeah.
But then Steve Jobs came back, and one of the first things that he did was that he cleaned house, including firing his one-time partner Steve Wozniak. And he ordered his software development team, because Apple was a software producer as well as a hardware producer.
Yep.
He ordered them to cease production on a copy of what today we call the Microsoft Office suite.
Yep.
Back then it was just Word and Excel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a database program I forget what it was called. But those were the three things, and the Microsoft Office suite is now like a whole bunch. You got Outlook and whatnot. And people were like, well, why? And it was like, because I'm making a deal with Bill Gates. And he's going to port his office his office productivity software to Mac OS 6.
Yeah.
And when that was announced, there was a lot of anger about that, because Apple and Microsoft were bitter enemies. Because the whole thing is that Apple bought Xerox's graphical user interface system and created Mac OS off of it.
Right.
And then Bill Gates didn't take any of the source code or anything. He just looked at that concept and said, I'm going to build something like that, so that way MS-DOS, wasn't a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's some people.
Well, that was the whole core of these two companies are bitter rivals.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Bill Gates goes up in front of the Apple Developers Conference to announce this partnership, a lot of Apple fans were pissed, and Steve Jobs said something to the effect of, the greatest threat to Apple Computer right now is the hardcore Apple faithful.
Yeah.
And I cannot afford to cater exclusively to them.
Exactly. So here we are talking to our buddy here,
Harbinger.
Harbinger. Um, uh, and we're about to show him why, in all of the existence of them, why humans are going to be their bane. Um, because we're willing to do things to win that no one else in their right mind is willing to do to win.
Like
Uh,
blow up a mass relay and
yep,
and effectively destroy an entire solar system.
absolutely.
Because holy shit, how much energy is stored in those things.
Absolutely. And here we are. We're going to race out of here, which, by the way, also gets my heart rate pumping every single time, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. But the thing is that humans are willing to do shit like this. Humans are a amazingly
And I we didn't address this in the build up because frankly we didn't need to. It makes perfect sense. In the end, doing this really just amounted to a math problem.
yep,
You know, what once you get the math figured out, then it's just a matter of building the freaking thing.
yep. And that is what puts humans generally speaking, if you tell them this is impossible because of you lack the math,
Mm-hmm.
we will come up with the math and make it possible.
Well, a case in point about how humanity got around the Treaty of Phyrexian, which limited people the size of every species' navy and gave the turret in order to ensure Turian supremacy, militarily speaking. It was like, yeah, we had already built more dreadnoughts than we were allotted. So what do? We ripped out the cannon and turned them into carriers.
Yep.
And everyone's like, you can do that? Yes, I can.
We can absolutely do that.
And now we are getting debriefed by the man himself.
Yep. And now we're going to.
I love this line that he's going to be delivering here.
Sounds like you went through hell down there. How are you feeling?
Fine.
So,
No more visions.
no more visions, if that's what you mean.
I wasn't expecting to see you here.
You went out there as a favor to me. I decided to debrief you in person.
Again, love me some
That was
Lance
before
Henderson.
the mass
Henderson.
That was
relay
before
exploded
Mass Relay exploded and destroyed an entire star system.
What the
Yep.
hell happened out there, Commander?
So there's a lot of things you can get away with as a ship's captain.
All I know is I sent you out there to
And
work,
this
Commander.
goes for
Right here is the line that I
Now
love.
an entire system is destroyed. I hope you could fill in the leap of logic between those two events.
I asked you to rescue someone and a star system got destroyed. Fill in the gap.
you
I
asked
confirmed
for
Dr.
me.
Henson's
I mean, you should have seen this coming. This is on you more than it's on me.
Um,
But I had a chance to kill Batarians.
Yeah, for right there too. We joke about how the sedative doesn't work. Sheppard was out for 2 days.
And they thought she was going to be out for longer.
Yep.
At least
Well,
you tried.
so again, we get into this situation with
Reprobation really was a threat.
Admiral Hackett, where so far we have acted completely outside of the chain of command of the
Well, as far as the alliance is concerned, we were KIA 2 years ago.
Indeed, and I think that overall, even in one, we acted pretty outside the chain of command of the military that we were part of, and we're going to get slapped back into that military really quick here.
Yeah, it's funny because we were acting as an agent of the council in the first game. We were acting as an agent of Cerberus in the second game, and now we're back to being the soldier we started this whole thing out in the third.
Yeah. This really puts us back into the military. But closing out, because we're now closing out the Mass Effect 2 here. I'd like to point out that 2 to me really deserves all the hype that it gets. 2 is and really is the game that BioWare should be looking at and going, okay, we can do it. They don't have to make a game that's like 2. I'm not saying they have to copy 2 or do like 2, but when they're looking at games and going, where are our successes? Where have we been our best at?
Speaking of successes, I think Stephen Hackett here just said, "I licked the ship, therefore it's mine now."
I believe so.
Anyway, and yeah, Mass Effect 2 is, again, in terms of the gameplay, it melds gameplay and narrative together successfully.
Yeah.
We're at war with
Now,
the Terrians. The other
all
races
that
are
praise for
hesitant
Mass
to
Effect 2 is
engage
all
in
well and
either
good,
side.
and I think it's a good way for us to finish things up as we conclude our conversation with Admiral Hackett and
It took multiple
our
fleets
return
and the
eventually
desperate ascension
to
bring
Earth.
sorrow.
Any last thoughts on that in the last couple of seconds?
If the
Just
Reapers
that
come in force,
Mass
we're
Effect
just not
2
ready.
really, I think, sets the tone for Mass Effect as a series, and it sets the bar for Mass Effect as a series. And I think that, well, a lot of the other games in the series often meet that bar. I don't think that I don't think that the tightness of the story is replicated. And I think that that's what I'm looking for out of Mass Effect 5.
And-
The tightness of story.
And to a certain extent, Dragon Age Veilguard as well.
Yes.
Anyway, that concludes not only Mass Effect 2's Arrival DLC, but it concludes Mass Effect 2's story for us, and we'll be moving on to Mass Effect 3 after this. So, thank you for joining me on this journey.
Absolutely.
Now,
Yes, it-
now, just because it's the end of the story doesn't mean that there isn't a couple loose ends to take care of. And I have to do this, so, I do ask for your forgiveness.
no problems.
For you, Commander.
Because the game takes us to the Sol System.
This system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I don't even care where.
no, it's okay. Now, so,
Commander?
Yeah, yes, Edie, really.
yes, of course, because ultimately,
I am 12 years old.
it's true. It's true. Now, we didn't talk much about this system of mining that they had in 2.
We really don't have the time to.
We didn't, but in this little thing, I would say it was kind of interesting. It was kind of neat.
Now you
it got boring really quickly.
Yeah. Now, you did mention, as we park into Earth's orbit, that you never got to see what happens with Kelly.
I did. I never did.
Well, we're going to leave it off with what happens when we romance Kelly. So, first off, put on a little mood music. Think,
Okay. Great little in thing where you can change the music in your office
Yep.
or in your bedroom. I really like that addition to the game. I know how you feel, Shep. I know how you feel.
Alright. Finding the perfect track. It's so hard.
It usually is. I mean, but BioWare really has used music
There we
very
go.
effectively.
And now we invite Kelly up.
Okay. All right.
Hello.
Really? You're gonna? I mean, you're gonna wear that
Yes.
to see your captain? Okay. What? Oh, my gods!
She spent a summer in Omega.
Indeed. I guess you just gotta give the people what they want.
And with that, we'll see you next time, kids.
Deuces.